been another very busy day here in NHL Free Agent Frenzy on July 1st. We have a ton more signings to go through, a few big ones, a lot of depth players, but it's not been as crazy of a free agency we've seen in the past, but a lot of players have changed teams. We'll go through all the latest signings coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have a ton more NHL signings from the Free Agent Frenzy here to go over. Of course, we've got other videos on the channel today from a bunch of the other activity that we saw early in free agency, as well as this morning for players re-signing and staying with their existing clubs. So, of course, if there's signings that I don't talk about here, it's probably already on the channel in another video. So certainly check those out if you haven't already done so. So let's get right into it here. We got all kinds of these to go through. It's some bigger than others for sure. The Columbus Blue Jackets, they've signed Isaac Lunderstrom, formerly of the Anaheim Ducks. He gets a 1-year deal, $1.3 million. The Utah Mammoth have been busy. They bring in some goaltending help. Vitek Vanacek, formerly of the Cup champion Florida Panthers, signs a 1-year deal, $1.5 million. So he'll add some depth and some competition to the crease there. They've also brought in Nate Schmidt, formerly of the Florida Panthers as well, on a 3-year deal at $3.5 million. That's certainly a lot more money than the Panthers could have ever hoped to give him for him to stay. Schmidt, of course, after getting bought out in Winnipeg, went to Florida, found his game, won a cup, and is certainly getting compensated for that now. That might be a little rich for me. I like Schmidt, but what version of Schmidt are they going to get there? But with the role they can give him, hopefully, he won't play too high in the lineup, so it should be, in theory, okay. Former Winnipeg Jet Brandon Tanev, former Kraken as well, plus a few other teams, played in Pittsburgh. Brandon Tanev goes to the Utah Mammoth as well on a 3-year deal at $2.5 million. That's a good bottom six addition for them, and some speed and some grit. Tanev should be a great fit there. In Utah, a few signings with the New York Islanders. Of course, we know that there's a chance that Semyon Varlamov may not be ready for the start of next year. There's really not a lot of confirmed reports out there, but I know some that feel there's a chance that he's definitely not ready to start and might be limited what he can do. So the Islanders have brought in some goaltending help as well, signing David Rittich to a 1-year deal at $1 million, formerly the Los Angeles Kings. He's bounced around a few teams now, being a pretty steady backup. They've also re-signed Tony DeAngelo, 1 year, $1.75 million. Of course, he signed there last year when he came back and was a decent fit. They've also added in free agency Jonathan Drouin, formerly of the Avalanche, gets a 2-year contract at $4 million. So, of course, Drouin, hard to say exactly where he's going to fit there. I know one of the assistant coaches on the Islanders came from the Avalanche, so there would be some familiarity there as well. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, Duran's been a player that's been prone to a lot of injuries, but he is very talented. And, of course, when he left Montreal, was a player that was very much on the downswing. He really had a lot going on. He went to the Avalanche, really found his game, reconnected with old junior teammate Nate McKinnon, and played a lot better and earned himself a much better contract. And, well, now, of course, the Avalanche couldn't afford to hang on to him, so he goes to the Islanders here in a free agent signing. They've also brought in, for some depth on defense, Ethan Bear gets a 1-year, 2-way contract. The Islanders also have added from Ottawa, Matthew Highmore gets a 1-year deal as well. It's a 2-way contract, I do believe, as well, but I haven't quite confirmed all the details on Highmore, but he is going to the New York Islanders. The Red Wings have done a bunch of things here today as well. They've signed former Sabre Jacob Bernard-Docker, 1 year, $875. They signed JVR, 1 year, $1 million. That's James Van Riemsdyk, now formerly of the Blue Jackets. Ian Mitchell comes over as well. He's a former Blackhawk and Bruin, 1 year, $775. I can't believe the Sabres let Jacob Bernard-Docker go. He was one of the main pieces. Him and Josh Norris came over for the Dylan Cousins trade. I thought he was a pretty solid player for them, to be honest. Ottawa didn't trade him because he was terrible or anything like that. They had more depth, and he just wasn't quite fitting where they were, the spots that they needed filled, and they had some guys they preferred over him. But when he went to Buffalo, I thought he did well. To see them not qualify him and move him, let him go for nothing, a little surprising, not going to lie. The Bruins have been busy today in some weird contracts, we'll call it. They've signed Obviously, earlier today we talked about Tanner Janot. That's already in another video, which I thought was a bit of an overpayment, but we'll see. They bring back Sean Corelli, former Bruin, goes back to Boston on a 2-year contract, $1.85 million. They also signed Mikey Eyssimont, 2 years at $1.45 million. They signed John Leonard, 1 year at league minimum, $775. They also bring in Jordan Harris, of course, who was also a player who went to Columbus in the Patrick Laine trade and was not qualified, became a UFA. Of course, played his college hockey in the Boston area, so quite familiar with the city. He goes to Boston as well. So obviously, a bunch of players go to the Bruins here. They haven't really done, and they also picked up Victor Arvidsson via trade earlier today as well. But for the most part, the Bruins have a lot of bottom six forwards, so I'm not sure what to make of the Bruins here just yet. We'll have to kind of analyze things here a little bit later. The Montreal Canadiens have done a few things as well. They've signed Sammy Blais. Was with the Canucks last year, played a lot with their HL team that won in the Calder Cup in Abbotsford. Sammy Blais gets a 1-year deal, league minimum. They've also brought in extra goaltender, Capo Kakinen. Formerly last year, he played with the Jets. 1 year, $1.15 million. He's played with a few teams now, actually. But yeah, so I don't know their plans for Kakinen. I suspect he'll have an opportunity to be the backup. I'm not sure if they want to let Dobush kind of continue developing in the AHL with Fowler, or if they're going to let Kakinen and Dobush compete, and maybe Kakinen goes on waivers and goes down with Fowler too. We'll have to see how they play things out there. The St. Louis Blues have signed free agent centerman Nick Bukestad, formerly from Utah, a 2-year deal at $1.75 million. We knew St. Louis was looking for a centerman, and they picked one up here. The Penguins have signed Parker Wotherspoon, of course, formerly of Boston, 2-year deal, $1 million per season. I believe they're signing Anthony Mantha as well, but I have not been able to confirm that or the AAV. The Nashville Predators signed former Tampa Bay Lightning defenseman Nick Perbix, a 2-year deal at $2.75. So obviously Perbix was one of the main UFA right shot D that was going to get a little bit more attention after all the guys that ended up staying put with their existing clubs. The LA Kings have done a bunch of things today, and to be honest, a lot of which is a head shaker. I don't know what Ken Holland's doing. In a previous video, we talked about signing Corey Perry. And to be honest, I like Corey Perry. He's still playing at a good level for his age. So, you know what? I don't have a problem with Perry coming in. But they've signed Cody Ceci to a 4-year deal at $4.5 million. 4 years and $4.5 million for Cody Ceci. I like Cody Ceci. He seems like a really good guy. Played with Ottawa when he started. He's played in Edmonton. He's played in Toronto. He's played in Pittsburgh. And sometimes he just gets into these, I don't know what you want to call it, but he's just like overvalued. If the expectations are usually too high because of the contract and where he's in the lineup. To me, on a really good team, he can be a serviceable third pair guy, play limited sheltered minutes, and he can succeed and eat those minutes up. But when you get him too high in the lineup, to me, I don't know. Like, they just moved Jordan Spence because he couldn't play because they don't have room for him behind Brant Clark and all this. And like the Kings basically gave Spence to Ottawa, and now they signed Ceci to this big contract. They also signed Brian Dumoulin, 3 years at $4 million. I'm like, wow, okay. And they also got Joel Edmondson, who, again, these guys were all good defensemen, but they were in their primes several years ago. I just don't know what new GM Ken Holland is really doing there. That blue line, and I like Drew Doughty a lot too, but he's not young either. So for a team that was supposed to be rebuilding a number of years ago, they're getting old awfully fast. I don't get it. Now, Cody Ceci, I don't know. DJ Smith's their D coach there. I'm not sure what influence he has. I'm pretty sure, thinking back when DJ was assistant coach in Toronto, I think that's during the time that Cody was there. So I guess he'd probably know him from there. Now, they also signed Anton Forsberg, formerly of the Ottawa Senators, as a backup goalie to Darcy Kemper. He gets a 2-year deal at $2.25. I don't mind that so much. It's a little bit of a pay cut for what he was earning before in Ottawa. But when he signed that 3-year contract with the Sens 3 years ago, he was also starting more. He was not a full-time backup, or Kemper is going to play probably 50 games or more next year. So I don't mind the contract. Obviously, I do wonder if there's DJ Smith influence on that one as well. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind Forsberg. I think he's a fine goalie to play that role for them, and they have a good defense. So in theory, he should be in a spot to succeed. My only issue is I think they could have got him a little cheaper. To me, it's just a little bit much. But Ceci and Dumoulin on 3 and 4 year contracts, that's just insane. I don't know what LA is doing. And then you add Perry. Like they just added a lot of age to that lineup, and moving out a 24-year-old defenseman who had really good defensive metrics. I don't get it. So not really a fan of what they're doing there for some of it, but yeah, we'll see what happens, I guess. In Florida, they've added probably a number 3 goaltender, former Bruin, Brandon Bussey, to a 1-year, 2-way deal. He'll likely, like I said, be the number 3 guy in Charlotte. They've signed Jack Studnicka to a 1-year, 2-way deal as well. He's most likely going to play in the AHL and be a call-up option. It's a $450,000 AHL salary in league minimum at the NHL. They're also bringing in Jeff Petrie on a league minimum deal, plus bonuses. I don't know what the bonus structure is exactly for Petrie, but he will only count against the cap as a league minimum deal. So for a team that just won the cup, for him to be like a number 7, that's a good spot for him. He can play offensively still and contribute that way, but obviously getting up there in years. So certainly somebody who wants to keep playing, probably has an itch to win, and could be a good depth piece for them. The Dallas Stars are bringing back Radek Faksa on a 3-year contract, $2 million per year. That seems fair. The Avalanche have signed Ronnie Atard, 1-year, 2-way deal, league minimum. Former Ottawa Senator and Utah Mammoth Igor Sokolov is heading back we've learned to go to the KHL. He was not tendered a qualifying offer from Utah. The Winnipeg Jets today signed Tanner Pearson, formerly of the Vegas Golden Knights. Gets a 1-year, $1 million contract, so he'll jump on the wing there in Winnipeg. Quick fun fact as well, Tanner Pearson is good friends, played junior hockey with Mark Scheifele. We also had a small trade as well, which Sam Lafferty back to Chicago again. I think Kyle Davidson enjoys trading for him. He's done it a few times now. So he goes from Buffalo to Chicago for a 2026 6-rounder. We also learned today that Flyers forward Tyson Forster is going to miss significant time. So we don't know the full details of it, but don't expect him to start the season. The Seattle Kraken have signed veteran defenseman Ryan Lindgren, 4-year deal at $4.5 million. Warrior-type defenseman that'll block shots for you all day, but obviously his body's taking a beating because of how he plays. So yeah, I don't mind the contract. I think it's reasonable. Also, veteran goaltender Matt Murray leaves Toronto after a few years, signs with the Kraken on a 1-year, $1 million deal. Obviously, that can be buried in the minors if need be. They never did buy out Grubauer like I thought they might, or trade him or anything. So we'll see how the goaltending shakes out there. Buffalo brought in another goalie, Alex Lyon, formerly of Detroit, 2 years at 1.5. So I do wonder if we're going to see another move there. I've wondered about Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. We'll see what happens. Justin Danforth also goes to Buffalo on a 2-year deal at $1.8 million. The Sharks have been busy as well. They brought in former Blackhawk Philip Kurashev on a 1-year deal at $1.2 million. Former Oiler John Klingberg, another defenseman, getting paid well, 1 year at $4 million. And now former Senator for the second time, Adam Gaudette, the hockey god, is going to the Sharks on a 2-year contract at $2 million. Sounds like Ottawa wanted to sign Gaudette if they could. They were interested in bringing him back. But they've signed Lars Eller, formerly of Washington. That's where he finished as their number 3 center last year, to a 1-year deal at $1.25. I think that was kind of their budget for the 4th-line center role. They had Eller interested. If Gaudette would have taken the same money, he probably would have stayed, but where he had a chance to get the extra year and a bump in pay. I mean, for a player like Gaudette, who's never had a chance to make big money yet, that's more impactful for him than some guys. So he's gotta take the payday, which is understandable, and hopefully he can flourish with some of the young players in San Jose and maybe get himself another contract that's even better next time. We'll see if he'll continue to do that. But Ottawa replaces him with Lars Eller, which is a great. He's great on faceoffs, great defensively. Doesn't put up a lot of points, but he will add another veteran to the lineup, and he can play up your lineup if you need him to, depending on how everybody's playing or injuries or whatnot. To slide him up to the 3rd line wouldn't be unreasonable. Yeah, you could put him in the top 6 briefly, just for little spurts here and there if need be. But he's a good vet, good on faceoffs, and really a good value signing for them on the fourth line. So they got a little bit a better mix, again, of vets and younger players throughout that lineup. We also had former Maple Leaf Pontus Holmberg's left, and he signed with the Lightning. He gets a 2-year deal at $1.55. The Lightning also signed Boris Kachuk on a 1-year, 2-way deal. The Minnesota Wild have brought back Nico Sturm, formerly of the Panthers. He goes back to Minnesota on a 2-year contract at $2 million per year. We have the Anaheim Ducks also. This one late here on my note sheet, but happened right before I started to record. Mikael Granlund, one of the bigger names, bigger point producers in the free agency, formerly of the Dallas Stars here, had a good strong finish. There was a lot of talk he might go to the Oilers, but he has signed with the Anaheim Ducks 3 years and $7 million. I think he'll be a good veteran ad there, to be honest. We know the Ducks are trying to improve and get into a spot to make the playoffs next year, and he's a good veteran who's produced, and I don't have any issues with that. I mean, we'll see. Over time, the money could be maybe a little high, but sometimes you get to overpay in free agency. But the way he's played more recently, in theory, it shouldn't be bad, but we'll see. A couple other former Senators that had small roles have departed as well for more opportunity. The Devils have signed Angus Crookshank, one of the best names in hockey. I love that name, Angus Crookshank. 2 years, 2-way deal, league minimum at the NHL level. Year 1 he's $425. At the AHL, year 2 goes to $475. So it's a pretty lucrative contract if he does need to play in the minors, but hopefully gets more NHL opportunity. He'll definitely have a shot at their fourth line, but it's hard to say where their depth sits, if he'll make it or not. And like I said, former Senator as well, Matthew Highmore, he departs and heads to the New York Islanders. Another one I didn't have it built into the other Islander section because it was a last minute thing that just popped up here. But Highmore, I believe that's a 1-year, 2-way deal, but I'm waiting to confirm that as well. In Toronto, I've added a few more signings. This is more for the Marlies. They've signed Bo Gruel, formerly of the Ducks, Travis Boyd, and Dakota Mermis, all under contract now with Toronto. But lots of signings. There's probably going to be a few more, so this definitely won't be my last video of the night. There's still more stuff to come, along with some speculation and other things we might see, so stay tuned. And busy day here at Free Agent Frenzy. Let me know your thoughts on everything so far, and we'll talk about it further. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching. I will catch you next time.